I was 16 years old. I was standing at the front of my English classroom while my teacher went around the room, student by student, and demanded that each one of them say something negative about me. Sounds pretty bizarre, doesn't it? Not constructive, not balanced, just negative. Nobody was allowed to say anything positive. And I had to stand there and just take it. It was rather intense. Now, here's the thing, that teacher thought she was breaking me down. What she actually did, without knowing it, was hand me the most powerful tool that I've ever used in my professional life. A tool that eventually helped me walk into City Hall as a CEO, stand in front of the mayor in a room full of city councilors, and challenge the outcome of a potentially multi-million-dollar decision that could detrimentally affect the organization I was representing. So today, I'm going to show you exactly what that tool is, and more importantly, how you can use it the next time everything is on the line. So here's the full story. Let me take it back. Grade 11, I had an English teacher who was a rather different individual, someone different than anyone I had encountered to that point in time. She was a former nun. After that, a drill sergeant in the US Army, and at some point she made her way to Canada and became a high school teacher. You can imagine the energy she exuded when she was in that classroom. Early in the year, she decided she liked me. She wanted me to join her drama class and take a lead role in an upcoming school production. But I had a lot of things on the go. I was already working 3 days a week after school. I was on several committees. I was playing sports. I was stretched pretty thin. And so I did what it made sense to do at the time. I thanked her, but declined. Didn't realize what the implications would be. She didn't like that someone actually said no to her. And so it led to some little encounter a while later. A little while later, the school announced its annual public speaking contest. Despite everything on my plate, I decided that I would enter that contest. I had come across an article in Maclean's magazine about how television treats the elderly in North America. The argument was that instead of treating older people with respect and reverence and valuing their experience the way many cultures do, television in North America was minimizing them, ridiculing them, turning them into punchlines. And so that landed with me, and I worked with that and developed a speech for the contest. I made it humorous, but meaningful. And when the day came, I delivered it, and it went over pretty well. I won the public speaking contest. Great. So what that had implications for was that I would then represent our high school in the city playdowns. Now, I didn't realize what would happen the next Monday after that contest. You would think it would be a moment of celebration, but instead, when I walked into English class, I could see immediately that my teacher was quite upset and angry. She certainly wasn't pleased. Before I even sat down, she called me to the front of the room and she demanded that I deliver the speech I delivered that I had just won with. Now, the setting was wrong. The audience was wrong. The atmosphere was completely wrong, but I did what she asked me to do. And then She did something I still find hard to believe. She went around the room, student by student, I think we had about 32 students in that class, and told each one of them to give me only negative feedback. No positive comments whatsoever, no balance, just criticism. And I was told to stay at the front of the room for this. The whole time I was standing there listening to this, nowhere to go, nowhere to hide, just hearing each of the criticisms. The students were uncomfortable. I could see it on their faces, but they complied with the teacher's order. I was uncomfortable, but I got through it. And on we went. What I didn't fully understand at the time was the damage that exercise did. Because here's what happened next. I went to the citywide competition. I delivered that same speech, but it didn't go over the same way. It was maybe, I'd say, half as effective as the first time. Not because the words had changed, not because the topic changed, but it was I that had changed. My confidence had taken a hit. And when your confidence takes a hit, your delivery takes a hit, your presence takes a hit, your connection with the audience takes a hit. I still placed second. And for the record, it wasn't my teacher student. She was coaching someone else who won. She was coaching a competitor. But I knew that speech had more in it than what I gave it that day. And I thought about why. And I thought about why many times since. So, what insight did it provide? Well, I would say, here's what I eventually came to understand from that experience. Confidence is not arrogance. It's not pretending that you're not afraid. Every person who has ever walked into a high stakes moment, whether it's a job interview, a board presentation, a difficult conversation, has felt fear, has felt some self doubt. That's normal. It's human. The question is, what do you do with it? The answer I found, and the answer I've used for decades since that classroom, is visualization. Before a critical moment, take the time to build a clear picture in your mind of what success looks like. Not perfection, power. See yourself walking in, see yourself speaking, see the audience responding, see the outcome you want. If you have that picture ahead of time, you are far more likely to deliver it when the moment arrives. So let me show you exactly what that looks like in practice. This is the payoff. Many years after that speech at high school, I became the CEO, many decades actually, I became the CEO of a Canadian National Exhibition. And for those of you who don't know, the CNE is one of the largest annual fairs in North America. Every August and early September, it draws about 1.5 million visitors to Toronto's lakefront. It's been running for nearly 150 years. It's an iconic event. Now, part of what makes that fair viable is the buildings that we use to put it on the grounds that supports both our fair operations and a casino. One day, without any consultation with the CNE, the mayor of Toronto offered one of the key buildings to the Premier of Ontario. Just like that. Basically said, if you want it, you can have it. If that transfer went through, the impact on the fair could have been severe. We're talking about the viability of a nearly 150-year-old institution, thousands of jobs, hundreds of millions of dollars in economic activity that it generates. So I did what you'd expect me to do. I registered to speak before the executive committee of the city council. Now, deputations in that setting are limited to 5 minutes. That's it. You've got 5 minutes to make your case in front of the mayor and senior city councilors. And for this instance, it was on a matter that was this significant. So I prepared a PowerPoint presentation, had everything mapped out. But there was a long wait. We were pretty much last on the agenda before my name would come up, almost 6 o'clock in the evening, running all day. As I sat there, I made a decision. Instead of reviewing my slides, I put them aside and I visualized. I thought about what mattered, what mattered most, not every point, the most important points. I thought about the mayor and the councilors sitting in front of me. I thought about what they needed to feel, not just hear, to understand what was at stake. I built that picture clearly, completely, and then waited. When my name was called, very late in the day, as I said, I walked to the podium and I left the presentation behind. There was a bit of a risk in that, but I spoke directly to the mayor, to the councilors, eye contact, no notes, no slides. I covered the major points. I delivered them, I think, with emotion. I stayed within the 5 minutes. Well, actually, I went over, but they let me speak a little bit longer. And the questions that followed from the councilors gave me the opportunity to expand on everything I hadn't had time to say. At our next board meeting, the chair and the president of the board, she had actually been with me at City Hall that day, asked that the presentation be replayed for the full board. It wasn't my request. I guess she liked it. When I finished, they spontaneously applauded with enthusiasm, and they thanked me for the strength of the advocacy on their and the association's behalf. I've included a link to that presentation in the description below. I want you to see it. It's not because it's hugely, immensely impactful, but I want you to see what visualization can actually produce when the moment counts. You know, it's not a presentation you'll rave about, but it worked. And have a look at what the final product was. So what are the lessons? What should you take from all of this? 3 things, I think. First, fear is not your enemy. Fear is data. When you feel fear before something important, it means you care. It means it matters, that it's not a problem to be solved. That is information to be used. The goal is not to get rid of the fear. The goal is to make sure the fear doesn't drive what you're doing. Second, visualization is a rehearsal your brain believes is real. This isn't mysticism. Athletes use it, surgeons use it, military leaders use it. When you clearly picture yourself succeeding at something, your brain begins to treat that picture as experience. And experience builds confidence. You don't need a coach. You don't need a special program. You need 5 minutes of quiet and a clear image of what you want to happen. Third, eye contact. Eye contact and emotion will always beat slides. When the moment is high, when it's high stakes, put down the deck, look at the human beings in front of you, speak to them, not at them, but to them. That is where the real persuasion happens every time. So here's what I want to leave you with today. Before your next important moment, whatever that looks like for you, take 5 minutes. Not to rehearse lines, not to memorize bullet points, just to see it as an image in your brain. See yourself walking in with purpose. See yourself saying the right things. See the people in that room understanding you, respecting you, responding to you. Build that picture and then go deliver it. I'd love to hear from you. What is the highest stakes conversation or presentation you've ever had to walk into? Did you use visualization? Tell me in the comments below. And if this resonated with you, share it with someone who has something important coming up, someone who could use this before they walk into their moment. I'm Daryl. Thanks for being here, and I hope you join me again sometime in the future.